Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and this is episode 2 of the Wireless Weekly Recap. This is more of a relaxed video where we discuss stuff that happened throughout the week in the wireless industry, recap it, give opinions and thoughts on it. I also show you guys speed tests that you guys send in throughout the US, and also if there's new tower installs or upgrades or small cells being added, you guys send in whatever, and we'll show it on these episodes. If your stuff doesn't get in, let's say just this weekly episode, it will be on the next one or the one after that. So definitely appreciate you guys sending stuff in. So this was a very busy week in the wireless industry. 5G specs have been announced. More spectrum is now being made available in the unlicensed spectrum, LTEU and LAA for Verizon, at&t, and T-Mobile. Sprint is not choosing to go with any of that spectrum. They feel like they have enough in the 2.5, which they do. So they're saying they don't need to go that route. They feel like with the additional carriers that they can add to band 41 and massive MIMO and small cells, they feel like they can do their own damage in the 5G world and bring fast enough speeds to their customers. So they're doing, I think Sprint is also doing a gigabyte test trial at Mobile World Congress, I believe, with Ericsson. Quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's at Mobile World Congress or not, but they are doing a demonstration of their speeds. And I think, and I'm sure most of you will agree, I think Sprint can do a lot of damage with that spectrum, but they're not they're not consistent. In other words, they're not doing it on a nationwide scale. They pick a few markets and they roll it out there, and then they leave other markets unattended. And it's not the fact that they're not working on the network, it's just some of the markets they leave incomplete. It's like, okay, you have 120 towers in this market and only 60 of them have band 41 on it. That's not that's the thing that Sprint lacks, is a complete market of band 41. If band 41 was on all the towers in most markets, they would do a lot better on the speed department, in my opinion. But when I first joined T-Mobile, got back with T-Mobile, I noticed right away that all the towers in the area had band 4 on them. Band 4, 20 megahertz. There wasn't no 5 megahertz or 10. It was band 4 at 20 megahertz. So I already knew their speeds would be better than Sprint's because Sprint was running band 25 at 5 megahertz. And if Sprint knows, if their management team is smart enough and they know that the data side, the LTE side of it is becoming more robust and people use more data and watch more videos, then I would say, okay, let's at least get band 41 on all tower sites, and let's worry about adding more towers and small cells a little later on. But they're all over the place. And at this current time, from what I've been reading up on, the small cell rollout is outpacing band 41. So they're rolling out a lot more small cells than adding band 41 onto new towers. So it's still being done, but it's at a lot smaller rate than what small cells are currently being rolled out at. And that's what you're seeing here on the picture. That's actually a small cell under a underground sewer. Well, actually, it's right there at the top. And this is what a lot of carriers are now saying is the future of 5G. It's small cells. And if they are getting densification rolling out, it's almost like it's kind of like a Wi-Fi setup inside of, let's say, like my apartment complex. Each individual apartment that has Wi-Fi has their own router. So I don't have to pull from the next door neighbor's router. I have my own router. So that's pretty much what small cells are. As they are growing small cells, you know, they're adding them on a stretch, and the small cells being added every half a mile. So that each of those small cells will put out speeds to those people that are in that specific area, and that will allow essentially for speeds to go up. Now, will it reach the 5G standard at first? Probably not. Like currently right now in the US, the LTE speeds are nowhere near what the actual standard of LTE is. In Europe, they're getting a lot closer, and in other countries, but you got to remember they don't have a scale like the U.S., a big scale, and the population size. I know other countries too, but have a lot of population. But Verizon has the largest LTE network in the entire world, from what I've been reading up on. So, like Canada, for instance, Canada doesn't cover their entire country. They just cover a few cities and a few roadways. They don't cover a large square mileage like Verizon does. So then yeah, I can just like in Germany, for instance, their speeds are 3 to 4 times faster than what we have here, but they have a lot smaller scale to work with, so it's a lot easier for them to cover than the US. So I don't really feed into that hype too much. I feel like the US is going in the right direction. I think Sprint is going to be last into the 5G race, and not because they're not adding the proper equipment and the proper stuff. It's just the funding, the lack of funding won't allow them to get it going on a nationwide scale. Sprint has announced, well, Marcelo and the CEO of SoftBank, that they would be number 1 or 2 in every market by 2017 or 2018. I knew back then that's just more of a publicity stunt, PR stunt to get people to switch over. They're not going to be able to do it. There's no way. The top 125 markets is what they would want to cover, and they're just basing that off of root metrics because they're the only ones that actually cover all of the 125 markets. No other testing firm covers all 125 top markets. I think Open Signal does like 5 or 6 regions. PC Magazine, same. I think JD Power is the same. So root metrics is the industry standard. That's why Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and at&t are being tested. I know T-Mobile dislikes root metrics quite a bit, and I honestly think there is no proof, but I honestly think carriers do pay for those testing results because root metrics has to make money somehow. They're testing twice a year, 6 months at a time, so they have to make money somehow. So I think that these carriers are paying root metrics, especially when they use them in the advertisements and all that stuff. So I think they are being paid, but I don't necessarily think that makes root metrics biased to any carrier. I just think it's the averaging out of all the 125 top markets. It's what's causing the scores to come up the way they are. I've seen T-Mobile on some of the ratings that they're low on call quality in a lot of cities. And then I go look in the forums, and then people are actually complaining out of these cities that they're having dropped calls. Like, I think it was Omaha. They are really bad there. I mean, horrible. They're lacking towers. They're dropping calls. And some of it also has to do, from what I've heard from a network engineer, is that a lot of these sites that were upgraded to band 2 from Edge were just a layover, so they don't have the newer equipment on these towers. So some of those towers are having trouble communicating with each other. So sometimes calls drop off because of that, from what he told me. And there aren't many more of those around. They are being upgraded, but there are still a few of those around that have just been a layover of to band 2. So this is where Sprint also wins for the 5G race, because they did a complete network rip and replace. So they have the newest stuff in place to run proper fiber optics and software and all that stuff, which eventually all carriers will have to do. But Sprint just doesn't have the funding right now to really get it going nationwide. That's why Verizon has always been ahead of the game. They have focused themselves on the wireless industry quite a bit. Back then, when Band 13 was the only band running on LTE and XLTE came out, I believe, if I remember correctly, Verizon put forth funding for it, a large amount of capex, and then within 6 months, Band 4 was rolled out nationwide. Within 6 months, speeds were lifted, and then after those 6 months, once that spectrum was added, then they started densifying, adding towers and all that good stuff. So it's definitely working for them. So it's working. We're seeing a lot of changes in the wireless industry. So I definitely appreciate the carriers really reinvesting it back into the networks, because that's essentially what we're paying for. We're paying for the phones from the manufacturer, but what we're paying for as consumers is their network. That's their product. So that's why I appreciate Verizon bringing out unlimited. So now I have the option of going with the best network on an unlimited plan. So that's definitely, and that competition since will also heat up. We still have the rumors going around of mergers, so that's definitely a huge one. I've been reading all your guys' comments, and I do see a lot of you guys saying that the merger might go through, it might not go through. I mean, even if it does go through, each T-Mobile and Sprint have a lot of debt, and once they merge, that debt combines. So they would have to make a large initial down payment on that debt. Then they have to decommission sites, because you got to remember T-Mobile and Sprint in some cities, well, in most cities, have towers that they co-locate on. So they would have to decommission those sites. That's another chunk of money and another project in itself. Then some of those stores have to be the leases have to be broken, because a T-Mobile and Sprint store in some malls are literally across from each other or right next to each other. So definitely I will make another video on that, getting into it really detailed. There's a lot of stuff there that might not make the merger happen, and there's a lot of analysts that say the same. And then also, well, coming up for funding for that, and then coming up for additional funding for the network part is going to be tricky. So not saying that it'll be shut down by the government. It's just, will they have the proper funding to fund all those different projects? So next here, these videos are usually a little longer, so I apologize for that. So next here we have some speed tests from the Thunder 388. We have Sprint and T-Mobile out of Pensacola, Florida. Here, Sprint is not running any band 41 yet. Let me see here. Give me a minute. They are running 5x5 1900 PCS, which is band 25, and then they're running band 26. So these speeds are still solid. As you can see, 12 on the down, 9 on the up. But it's just sad to see that there's not any band 41 there, not even one tower. That's just sad to see. And those are the areas that I'm talking about. Sprint really needs to step their game up and get all of those areas with band 41, since they have it almost nationwide. Next, there's another speed test. So as you can see, it doesn't seem like Pensacola has a lot of Sprint customers down there. 22 download and 8 on the upload. That's a really solid speed. If that's more of an average speed down there, I'm sure there shouldn't be any issues with going with Sprint, especially the value that they present, a cheaper value and decent speed. Why not? So next here, all right, as you can see, this is T-Mobile. Let me check real quick. I believe this is also in the same area. Yep, this is also in Pensacola, Florida. They have 20x20 running on band 4, 4x4 MIMO with 256 QAM and 64 QAM on up and download. So these are really good speeds, as you can see. Very nice. Galaxy S7. These speed tests were ran on the Galaxy S7. 112 on the down, 41 on the upload. According to the upload, that definitely does look like 4x4 MIMO is involved in this. So definitely great speed tests there. Also another one, same area, a lot faster, 128 download, 47 upload. So T-Mobile is really strong in Florida. From what I've seen, Miami, they do very well for themselves. Orlando is also a strong Sprint market as well. They have band 25, 10x10. And band 41. So definitely a strong market there. Also, this is these are speed tests on T-Mobile out of Atmore, Alabama, is what it looks like. And they are running, let's see here. Okay. Looks like band 4, but no 4x4 or 256 QAMs. So definitely still nice speeds in that area. Very low ping and Very doable on those, definitely. And there's another one there, 48 on the download, 8 on the upload. So looks like T-Mobile's network is starting to get stronger across the U.S. Also, this is out of Baltimore. Brandon Franco he's a subscriber on the channel. He had traveled to Baltimore, Maryland, I believe, and he spotted this Verizon truck, and this is a small cell, getting ready to do a small cell install on the light pole that you see behind. So Baltimore, Verizon's doing a lot of upgrades down there, a lot of new stuff coming for you guys. He did say Sprint was running band 41 down there, but only a single carrier. There wasn't no additional second or third carrier added in Baltimore as of yet. He did also report back that Sprint's speeds were very slow for band 41. He was experiencing more like band 25 speeds at like 10 megabits, 15 megabits. I believe he said 20 was about tops there. And then also he's seen a few areas that were below 1 megabit on band 41. He was shocked that he's seen that down there. He didn't like that too much to see that that Sprint was performing that bad in Baltimore, and especially finding out that Sprint can add the second carrier via software. That just made it a little worse knowing that. So, but definitely Verizon's doing a lot of work down there. So Baltimore, get ready for some speed increases. Definitely. He didn't take his Verizon phone down there, so we didn't see how Verizon performed. But with them doing that, that's definitely seeing work done down there. Then next we have a speed test out of Hawaii. So definitely appreciate that. Send in. So like I said, T-Mobile's network is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. They are adding customers, but they still have a lot less customers than AT&T and Verizon. So here we are, 113 on the download, 38 upload, and then ping is in 22s. The person that sent this, he said that these are more consistent speeds throughout the Honolulu, Hawaii area. Not necessarily that you get 113 on the download everywhere, but it is a very consistent basis, very strong. So definitely appreciate these guys. We have episode 3 coming next Friday, so send me more stuff in. This video actually lasted a lot longer than I anticipated. We have a lot to cover. There's more stuff to cover tomorrow and this upcoming week. The Galaxy S8 is dropping. I had the leak video that I made. So I want to see. I'm not necessarily really interested in seeing the specifications of the device itself because I know it's going to be crazy. I just want to see what the device covers from the carriers. Will it cover Sprint's HPUE? Will it cover the LTU bands? Will it have band 66? All that good stuff. That's what I'm more interested in seeing. So I will keep you guys up to date on that. I do appreciate all of the comments, likes, shares, and subscribes, all that stuff. I appreciate all the new support. Congratulations again to the winner of the giveaway. More giveaways coming. So definitely, I appreciate you guys. Let me know if you like these episodes, these wireless weekly recap episodes, and give these videos a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. And this is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.